Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday on this holiday weekend. I hope you are enjoying your time off. I decided to post a short video this morning and just kind of talk to you for a couple minutes after reading the discussion board. You will notice in the background over here, you can see the shadow of the cage. One of my squirrels is very active this morning, so if you see something running up and down in the reflection of the screen, it's her. You'll also notice that my voice is a little bit deeper this morning. You all know the first week of school, we're lucky if we still keep our voice, and mine's a little bit worn out today. However, I just wanted to do a short video and let you know that the grades are updated for the week 1 assignment connectedness and for the week 1 DBs, and to remind you that if you haven't done your peer responses for your DBs for week 2, to go ahead and get those done. And also to remind you that your assignments, remember, I won't be looking at them until the Tuesday after the holiday break. I also want to apologize for not grading on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. As I told you, those are the days that I like to grade your assignments, just to make sure that I'm on top of everything. But my mother-in-law, I care for 2 older women in my life, and I think I might have shared that with you already, my 89-year-old mother and now my 83-year-old mother-in-law. And I've only had my 83-year-old mother-in-law for about 2 months, and this heat, even though she does have air conditioning in certain rooms of her home, this heat dehydrated her something horribly. She just wasn't drinking enough, wasn't getting enough fluids in, and we ended up having to do an emergency medical trip to get her hydrated again and safe. Her ankles were this big around. It was horrible. So I was focused on that Wednesday and Thursday, and everything's fine now. She's doing well. I bought her a bunch of Gatorade. She'd never had Gatorade before, and she's like, I love this. I was like, oh my goodness. So she's home jonesing on some of the fruit punch Gatorade right now. But I wanted to talk a little bit about connectedness because, when we don't have a face-to-face class, it's difficult to have these connections and these conversations. We have to do it online. And it was so interesting, you were all over the spectrum on connectedness. And so I just wanted to bring up some thoughts. One, connectedness can be hard, and several of you had said this. I think Sang said, he likes to be disconnected, when he's outside of school. And I think Donna said, she likes to take a brain break, from school, and totally understand that. It's very hard to be working in the classroom all day and doing all of the things you need to do for your district and then come home and do more connectedness related to education. I completely understand that. And you do need that downtime. And so it's always good to try to find ways to add that connectedness without it being overwhelming or feeling like, another burden. And a lot of you in your post were talking about having, a hard start to the school year due to having to, implement new things or just feeling overwhelmed. And you don't want connectedness and technology to become another thing that overwhelms you. You want to find things that work for you, work for your classroom, for your SLCs, for your PLCs, and, make things easier on you. And I think that when you're learning new things in technology, you're going through the same thing that our students go through. You're learning all of these things for the first time, and then you're expected to implement them, and then you're supposed to figure out time management to keep them going. Well, that's not always so simple. And, a lot of you are tending to be really hard on yourselves in the discussion board about your connectedness. And it was funny, there were several of you that were like, I'm not very connected, but I could see that you were already working on connectedness and what you were doing and the accounts you were following and the things that you were trying. So don't be hard on yourself about it. And remember that, it's a process and it takes time. There's a lot of places where I'm really connected in education, and there's a lot of places where I'm pulled back as well. And it's learning to find that balance, between home life and school life and, moving forward and pushing yourself, outside of the box to try something new. And several of you had talked about feeling awkward, or uncomfortable. And of course you do. We all do. I remember the first time that I started doing these videos. and you guys see the finished video right now, and you probably think, oh, Dee Dee's being she's so casual in front of the camera. Well, you don't know if I've done 1 take or 20 takes. That's kind of how it works. And I remember feeling awkward when I first started teaching online, and do I look funny? Do I sound funny? Am I blinking too much? What are they thinking? And then the more you do it, you get comfortable with it. It's no different than when you're at school, and you're presenting for people, the first time. And that awkwardness is normal, but we know that the more we do these things, the less awkward we're going to feel. And then that confidence also brings itself, and Joaquin had talked about this, sharing the technology and the connectedness with other people. So then what's great about you going through this now and studying this in the master's program is that you can go back, and it doesn't mean that you have to do this whole staff development on connectedness, but maybe you just find 1 or 2 people that are open to learning how to be more connected, that you really care about as a fellow educator, and somebody you feel very comfortable with, that you could just do a one-on-one. And that's how it's always been for me and Eric Slater, who's also a professor at Concordia and my teaching partner during the school day. If I don't know something about technology, I go to Eric, and Eric makes me feel comfortable, and we work through it together if I'm struggling with something new, and vice versa. And you find that little community, and that adds to the connectedness. One of the things that someone had brought up was, I start to write something, then I think, who wants to read this, or who wants to hear my voice? And I had said to the person in this class, and I want to say this to all of you, everybody wants to hear your voice. They do. And I know sometimes it seems like, on Facebook and stuff, people are ranting or rolling or whatever, but we're not talking about things like that. We're talking about, giving, professional opinions or ideas or thoughts about education. And I had said, this is one of the reasons why people love reading articles, nonfiction articles about people, memoir, because we feel connected as a community. And when you see somebody write something or put it on a page or put it up on Twitter, and you feel the same way, you're like, oh, okay, I feel that way too, or I'm not alone, or okay, this makes sense. If one person feels this way, then there must be more of us. So let me look for that community, and build around that. So, don't be afraid to put your voice out there. People do want to hear it. There is someone that's going to want to hear what you have to say. And it's important to be a voice, in the connected community. I think that's about it. If I think, there was one thing that I told somebody, they were talking about writing comments and connectedness, or, adding to the dialogue. But some of the things that you want to think about in connectedness is could you do something related to connectedness where you showcase your experience? Many of you have these great stories and these great ideas and these great aha moments where you share your, successes in education or your pitfalls in education. And there are so many teachers out there that need that need to hear somebody share something. And once again, think, okay, I'm not alone. Or, oh, they tried this and this is what happened. Okay, now I know that, these things could go wrong. Maybe I could try it this way. So, start putting out the feelers to try something like that, to maybe take on a leadership position in your connectedness, or connect to former students, who are now alumni that may need you as a mentor as they are traveling through their educational, career. And it's just something to think about. And I think that's the key with connectedness, is that you just always kind of have to think outside the box, but then also what's going to work for you. Otherwise, that's when it becomes really overwhelming. So that's it for this Saturday morning. So grades are updated, reminder about DBs and work, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Remember that next week you will have your live virtual with your partner again. This time I'll be asking you to submit invitation to me or link where you will be meeting so that I can jump in and say hello and listen to the conversation. So I look forward to talking to you all. Have a wonderful holiday weekend and stay cool. Bye-bye.